In this video, we are going to talk about the two different sizes of cylinders that are available with the Dean & Bean's 2.0 sock machine. So these are the compound cylinders, and you know that's the kind it is because it has a bit of a shelf. This is the kind that was used with our 1.0 machine and also works still in 2.0. This is the Tuttle cylinder, which goes straight up and down, so it's 1/2 inch wider. And these are the needles that you use with each. So the compound cylinder has this longer needle butt, and the Tuttle cylinder is this shorter one. So you can see them here side by side. Compound is longer, the Tuttle is shorter. And then if you had our 1.0 machine, those needles are longer and you do not use those anymore. Those longer needles will not work with the 2.0 machine. You want these shorter needles with the compound cylinder. We get a lot of questions about which size of cylinder is best, and there's a whole gauge chart at deanandbean.com that will show you. And then separately, there's a video on managing tension that you might want to check out. In short though, each cylinder is sort of happiest knitting at a certain amount of tension. And so if you're not being able to get the gauge that you want on your cylinder, your best plan might actually be to go up or down a cylinder size. Next, I'm going to show you how to add a cylinder to the machine. And while the one cylinder is out, you're getting ready to put the next one in. This is a good time to lube the track. You can see I have a little bit of white here that's built up. You can use the spray PTFE lube. And it's also a good idea at this point to get a little ceramic grease, put it on your finger, and rub it in and around all of the different cams. And you can move the cams all the way to the top to be able to reach under there and do that little bit of the track right there in that cam section with the lube as well. Then once you're ready to install the cylinder, you'll see if you look down in here on this one, there's an X in the cylinder, and there's also an X on the bottom of the floor gear. So those bolt holes need to line up, the two that have the X's. So I usually get in a habit of putting those at about 7 o'clock right under the yarn feeder. And then you take your bolt, just feed it right up in, and they hand twist in to get started. And then you can use the screwdriver we provided, or I actually have a little drill to speed up our demo here. And then you just each of those all the way around. So once you've done all three, you want to make sure they're tight, not crazy tight, but that they're firm. And you do not have to worry about lining up the side gear in any particular way. It's just fine. You might need to adjust the yarn feeder in and out if you're moving between a compound and a Tuttle cylinder, and there's a whole separate video on how to do that. So once you have your cylinder in place, then you just need to replace your needles. Use your loom tool to pull out the cylinder band, and then you put the needle in so that the butt is lined up at the back, and then just tip it forward. After you've done the first one, you can just use your hand to pull each needle forward and put in the one beside it. It is possible to remove a cylinder with the needles still in without having to take them all out individually. For this example, I've already taken off the floor gear, and what you would do is you would lift up a section of the needles up and out of work, not quite half the cylinder, but quite a few. And then you need to hold them with your hand, because if they don't have yarn on them, they're inclined to push forward and they get caught by the yarn feeder. So you spin until all of those raised needles are in front of the cam system, and then you're able to lift it up and out of work. You might want to move the yarn feeder back to do that. And to put them back, you just reverse the process. And you sit it down in, push the needles down, and then you can attach your cylinder. I would note that the compound needles are more forgiving with this method than the Tuttle needles. The Tuttle needles have such a tiny little butt on them, and there's so little overlap with the track in the camshell that sometimes as you're turning the cylinder, they can get jammed down in between the cylinder and the camshell if you do not have the floor gear holding them directly in place. So I actually usually do take the needles out if I am switching a Tuttle cylinder, but I will often leave them in if I'm switching the compound needle. That works pretty well. I hope that helps. Check out our other videos for more information on lifting and lowering needles, adjusting tension cam and the tensions with your cams, and adjusting the yarn feeder. Thanks for watching. Visit us at deanandbean.com and please like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.